Before we get into this event, has anybody else's October been a very wild experience? Am I alone? Is it me? Okay, because like October really came in here and tried to really get me. I don't know. So we should give ourselves applause that we made it to the end of October. Like, good job. Good job. Also, good morning. Hi, I'm Amina Brown. I am the chapter host for Creative Mornings Atlanta, and you are here at Plywood Place. Is this your first time at Plywood Place? Let me see some hands. First time here? Okay, all right. It's your first time at Creative Mornings. Let me see hands. Okay, give it up for our first timers this morning. Love that. Okay, you might be like, wow, what is this? We will try to explain. But it is a free event where we try to get you free coffee and free food because we know being a creative is hard. Sometimes the invoices is net 15, it's net 45, it's net we don't know. So you know you can come here and get a little food, get a little coffee. So if you have to go and put one of those burritos in your bag, it's okay. It's okay, we understand. You put some extra foil on it, everything's fine. First of all, welcome so much to Creative Mornings Atlanta. This is our last morning event, but not our last event for the year, so we'll tell you more about that. But we are here, we do 10 events a year, gathering creative people, and you might be like, what do you mean when you say creative people? That could be people who work in creative industries, right? That could be performing artists or people who work in the fine arts. It could be people who just love creativity because a part of our manifesto is everyone's creative. So that means everybody is welcome here. Love to see that. Also, I want to give a shout out to something else that y'all may not know about. Creative Mornings Atlanta has a podcast. Who knew this in this room? A few people. We got a few listeners in here. Okay, so if you're like, wait, what? So there's a podcast called Wake Up and Create. That is our Creative Mornings Atlanta podcast. And this event has existed for 12 years. So on the podcast, you are hearing some kind of like supercuts of some clips of some of our best talks that we've had here. So if you're a podcast person, go to Wake Up and Create on your podcast player. Subscribe to us. It comes out every Monday. That way you can experience it. You can have a little morning motivation. You know, you could drink your coffee and think of us. Okay, thank you so much. Make sure you do that. Also, look, some of y'all that know me or have seen me around, you think that I'm doing this by myself, and I would never do this by myself. This team of brilliant people are our volunteers that help put this event on every month. So I wanted you to get a chance to see them. Yes, give them a hand, okay? That's why this thing is possible. We have a team of rock stars that are our volunteers. So actually, if you're on my volunteer team, can you raise a hand so that people can see you if you're in this room, people on our volunteer team? Yeah, they make it happen. So big thanks to them. And if you are like, I would love to spend my spare time doing creative events, we want to talk to you. Okay, so if you're interested in volunteering, you can talk to me, or you can talk to anybody who has their name tag that says CMATL team. You can ask any of us. We would love to give you the info. All right, next. I forgot to tell y'all something else. We are on social media, okay? So if you're a person who is on Instagram, I don't know that we made it to Threads page. Okay, so we're about to be on Threads, okay? But right now, okay, right, announcement. DJ Khaled voice. Okay, so you want to go to Atlanta_CM on Instagram and sometimes Twitter, but mostly Instagram. I don't care what that man says. It's Twitter until the end. So sorry about it. All right, so Atlanta CM, we are on Twitter and Instagram. You can check us out there. If you want to post hashtags about this event, you want to do hashtag Atlanta_CM, and our global hashtag is hashtag CMEndurance. So make sure you do that. Okay, I'm in there. Also, big thank you to our coffee partner. How many of y'all had coffee this morning? Yes. Big shout out to our coffee partner, Hot Coffee, who has been our coffee partner all year long. So show them some love today. Yes. So you too can have hot coffee. You can have hot coffee at your home. Also, you can visit Hot Coffee's brick and mortar, which is Bankhead Coffee. If any of you are familiar with Westside Motor Lounge, Bankhead Coffee and Westside Motor Lounge actually share like a courtyard area. So you can go to there, have a little coffee, go have a cocktail, bring a boo, you know, or get you a boo. I don't know, you know. Do what you can. We want to support Hot Coffee. Hot Coffee is a Black woman-owned coffee company. Make sure you set up some meetings. Try to do this. I try to do this in the city too. When people want to like meet up with you someplace, pick some cool places like that you want to expose people to. So make sure you do that. Want to go to Instagram for @LoveHotCoffee. Also, let's talk about this food. Did you enjoy this pumpkin loaf? Did you enjoy this burrito today? Okay? Show your love for The Daily as our food partner. You can experience The Daily. You can visit shopthedaily.com. The Daily has 2 locations. You can go on the west side for those of you who live close to there. And you can also go to Inman Park. You can get your eggs or whatever it is you like, vegan things, vegetarian things. You can go there. I've also heard that the west side location is perfect for just a little co-work experience. If you don't want to be at your home or in your office, you can go to there. So big thank you to The Daily. Also, I want to give a shout out to Off the Record. Off the Record has been our video partner. Oh my gosh, how long has it been? Like at least 2 years, maybe more than that. So for those of you that are here, our morning events are always filmed. So if you ever miss any of these events in the morning, you can catch any of those videos on creativemornings.com/ATL. But the reason they look so crispy is because of Off the Record. And you actually get to hear more from the founder of Off the Record, as she is one of our speakers today. But Off the Record is a content creation and storytelling studio. Look, you need help creating content. You have clients that want to have a person who can do excellent film and video for a fee. You too can work with Off the Record. So make sure you do this. You want to visit offtherecord.com. That's OFFTHA, offtherecord.com. Make sure you do that. Okay. Also, we have a wonderful guest with us. Alejo, raise a hand. So we're going to have an experience today. Alejo is here, and Alejo is going to do live graphic illustration as he is inspired by this event. So throughout the event, you can just watch what Alejo got going over here. This is going to be very exciting. So you want to make sure that you can check out Alejo. Alejo got all this stuff up here. You can go to this QR code. You can find out about Alejo's art. You can find out how you can hire Alejo for a fee, okay? You can find out how you can do that. So Alejo, thank you so much for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing what you create. Yeah, give it up for him. It's amazing. Okay. All right. Now, some of y'all are like, what is this that I came to? My friend had invited me. I don't really know what this is. So this is Creative Mornings Atlanta, but Creative Mornings generally is a global initiative. There are over 200 chapters all over the world who are doing the same thing that we are doing today, gathering with the creative people in their community on the same theme, right? So that means here in Chicago, in London, in Brazil, all over the world, same theme gathering everywhere, which is very dope, right? So the goal of these events is that they're always free, that there is always free coffee and free breakfast. The goal is for creative people to be able to build community together, meet each other, and mingle, right? Some of us freelance, so we work at home alone all the time. Some of us work with people we don't like, you know what I mean? So maybe you want to just like meet some other people. That's what this thing is for, to gather creative people so that you can feel less alone and know that you're a part of a community of folks. So big shout out to that. And each month, our events are according to a theme. We don't choose the theme. The themes are chosen by different chapters all over the world. So our theme this month is endurance, right? And any of us who do creative work or experience creativity know that if there's anything it takes endurance, right? It takes deciding that you're going to get to a goal and do everything you can to get there. It takes getting rejected. It takes being told no. It takes applying for the job and not getting the job. It takes starting your own business. Sometimes it takes deciding you want to end your own business and start a new thing. Either way, it takes endurance to make it, right? So that's what we're exploring today, which I know is going to be really inspiring. Now, some of y'all was like, why is it hula hoops right here? And I'm going to get into that in just a moment. But first, everyone who can stand, please stand with me for a moment. We're going to play a little game. Okay, so we're going to play an Endurance Atlanta game. We're trying to see how long people have lived here in the city, okay? So once I reach your amount of years, you sit down, right? So if you've been here less than a year, have a seat. Okay. My people who have been here 2 years or less, have a seat. 3 years or less. Okay. 4 years or less. Okay, we can do some OGs in a minute. Okay. 5 years or less in the building. 6 years or less. Let me do 8 years or less. Have a seat. 10 years or less. Okay, still OGs in the building now. 12 years or less. Have a seat. Okay, 14 years or less. Have a seat. 16 years or less. Okay. 18 years or less. Have a seat. Okay. 20 years or less. My. Yes. Okay. All right. 20 years or less. Okay. 22 years or less. Have a seat. 24 years or less. Have a seat. 25 years. Oh, man. Okay. Let me see 30 years or less. My. I'm like, do I have this many prizes? Okay. 32 years. Okay, we're getting there. 34 years or less. Okay, 36. Wow, okay, 38. 38 or less, okay. How many people I have left standing? 3 here and 4, 5. Okay, 40 years. Wow. 42? All right, I got them. Okay, we're at 42 years. So I have Terry, I have you left. Okay, and I have you left. You're getting a prize. So thank you for your endurance, for staying in Atlanta all this long. You're getting a gift card. Thank you so much. And one for you, Terry. Thank you. All right, now, our next game of endurance. It's gonna be these hula hoops, but we need volunteers. I need 3 people. I have 1. I need 2 more. 1 more. Okay, that's my 3. Will you come down here? And if I can have one of my team members will remove this for us so y'all can have plenty of room. All right, here you go. Okay, you can pick just as you feel lucky, as you feel led. Okay, I got 1 more coming. All right, so this is the game that we're playing right here. What we're doing is trying to see who can hula hoop endure. Okay, so let me get you to just be a little on the right there, and then you'll scoot over for me, and then you'll come over. Just yes. Okay, now what we're gonna do is DJ O'Diggy is gonna play a little bit of music, okay? And then we're gonna start y'all hula hooping. Whoever can hula the longest gets a prize. Audience, what we need from you is some cheers, some support, okay? Just try to find, okay, some motivation, all right? Okay, now you and me gonna be the judge. We're gonna watch and see who can last the longest. Y'all feel ready? Yeah, the traditional way. I'm a little curious about the non-traditional way, though. Like, I kind of want to know that information. Okay, offline, thank you. Okay, is everyone ready? Oh, Diggy, you feel ready up here? Okay. All right, I'm going to count y'all in on 3. 1, 2, 3. Was it you? I think we had a winner. It went more quickly than I thought, but give it up for them. Y'all did a great job. Thank y'all. I will take these. Thank you. It went more quickly than I thought, but y'all did it. Yeah, y'all did better than I would have. So let's show some love to them one more time, because wow. Thank y'all so much. That was great. I guess we learned our first lesson is that in order to hula hoop, it's a short amount. It's a short amount of endurance that you need, so we don't have to worry about that. Thank y'all so much for participating. That was amazing. We want to thank our people that help us, who are like really helping us so that we're able to do this. So I want to give a special shout out to MailChimp. MailChimp is our local partner. They are the reason that breakfast is free. that the coffee is free. So give it up for MailChimp. Yes, we appreciate them. All right. Next month's event is our last event for the year. And when I say we have 10 events a year, we have 5 mornings and we have 5 evenings, right? So this event you're here for in the morning is more, feels like you get to hear a speaker, you get to feel motivated, you sort of get to like watch what someone else is saying or doing, right? In the evening, it's more of a workshop environment where instead of hearing someone talk about the theme, you actually do the theme, right? So our theme for November is rhythm, and I'm happy to announce that Lady Marauder has agreed to do a listening party for us for the evening. Yeah, that sounds cool, right? Okay, so those of you who aren't familiar with Lady Marauder, she's one of our amazing DJs here in Atlanta. She's also the founder of Slow Drag. If you don't know about this, I just want you to go and just really Google that because it's amazing. So as a part of the listening party, what will happen is you can bring your sketchbook. If you like to draw, you can bring an iPad or your computer if you want to do some design. And Lady Marauder is actually going to spin some music on a theme while we get to write or draw or crochet or whatever it is you like to do. So if you have a creative activity that you never have time to do, this would be a great time to come do it. And here's some really cool music. And we always have, you know, some little vittles and things at night. You never know what the vibes are going to be. That's going to be at Be Nice House. So make sure you pay attention to our social media and our newsletter so that you can get tickets to that, because tickets will be limited. We actually have a cap of 50 people that can fit in that space. So our evening event is always a little more like intimate that way. But we would love to see you. The date for that is November. Am I lying? Is it the 30th? Did I lie? The last Thursday of November, okay? The Thursday that is after Thanksgiving. So not Thanksgiving Thursday, but the one, I'm not lying, it's the 30th? I wasn't lying. November 30th in the evening. So we would love to see you there. Also, we are so happy to have Plywood Place as our venue partner. We've had such a great time in their space. Give it up for Plywood as well. They're amazing. Listen, Plywood is a co-working space, but Plywood is also a space for community, right? And I'm sure many of you have experienced being in different co-working spaces, but that's a part of the difference with Plywood is that it's a place where you can also have community. So please make sure you visit plywoodplace.com so you can find out more about how you can be a member. You can join here so you can work here anytime you want. They also have day passes for $20. I mean, $20. Okay? So make sure you sign up for that. We'd love for you to support Plywood. And now it's time to hear from our speakers. Are you ready? Do you feel it inside? This side is ready. This side, are you ready? Okay, y'all ready over here? Okay. So let me explain to you our concept of what we're doing today, which is a little bit different than what we normally have. Our concept is called Audience Takes the Stage. And so this means sometimes our speakers are not necessarily familiar with Creative Mornings Atlanta. They may be their first event that they ever come to when they speak. But when we do Audience Takes the Stage, it's actually people who are a part of our community that we partner with, that we've worked with. So I'm very excited for you to hear from both of these speakers. So first, we're going to start with Sam Ramirez-Herrera. And I'm excited that you're going to get to hear from Sam because she is the founder of our video partner Off the Record. Sam is an amazing activist. She is passionate about making sure that we can see justice in the world, particularly as it relates to immigration reform. I just can't wait for y'all to hear more of Sam's story. So will you show your Creative Mornings Atlanta love for Sam Ramirez-Herrera?
Vision, insight, stronghold, purpose, ice cold,
Good morning. First of all, it's really weird to be up here because I'm usually up there with my film crew making sure that we're filming the speakers here. So when they asked me to be up here today, I was like, oh, okay. Now I do this, I am a public speaker, and I have gone to over 49 states, 2 countries speaking, so I should be used to this, but I'm really anxious today because this is home, and when you're home, it's like people know you, and when people know you, they really don't give a F about you. So I'm happy that y'all are here today and that you made it out. Now, when I heard that the word endurance was the topic of the discussion today, I love words, y'all. Many people would say that are close to me have to endure hearing me talk a lot. They have to endure my ADHD brain and all of my ideas, so they have to hear me. And those are very few people that can endure that type of suffering. So as I dug into the word endurance. The definition, the verb definition, is to suffer patiently. Now, when you think about that, that means that patience is a choice. That means that we have a choice to endure. We have a choice in how we handle the challenges that come into our lives, the pain, the suffering that we have to endure. It also means to stand, to continue to stand, to continue to exist. Now, as I started to think more about this word, I looked up the synonym, and the synonym is thole, Thole. And thole, the definition of thole is rare, uncommonly good, remarkable, which means to me that those who choose to endure and suffer patiently have a reward at the end, right? At least that's what we hope. It means that they are rare, that there is few people who choose to endure, primarily for the things that we believe in. And then when I started to dig a little deeper and I read the antonym of it, it said that the antonym is cowardice. That means that endurance requires courage. It requires us to be brave, to show up for the moments that require us to show up and be patient. The moments that require us to show up as our full selves with that courage, so that we may be able to get to that other side of the challenge, of the suffering, of the pain. And now I began to think more about the word endurance, and I started to say, what can I talk about, right? And I started to think about all of the stories that I have been able to listen to on my journey. I started my YouTube channel 13 years ago, filming stories of rock stars in Atlanta, of poets, of people with big dreams and empty pockets. I started to film these stories because I felt that stories are the entryway into change, into the world, into learning, into connecting to other humans. And so I started to think about how the word endurance has been exemplified through the stories that I have told, which is like, I chose some of my favorite stories. Now, all of my stories are, like exciting and amazing, but these up here really, really exemplified endurance to me. See, because through my agency, Off the Record, we have been able to go across, all the way to Brazil, to hear the stories of people who are fighting for something, who are enduring, people who believe that they could change the world, that they could change their community, that they could change a system, that they can change themselves. And some of these people that exemplified endurance to me were people like Derek up at the top corner, who had to endure the foster care system after being left at a bus stop with his sister by his mother, who is revolutionizing the way that the child welfare system is working so that he can help other kids who are having to endure this system right now. And his mother, who had her own story of endurance, who many people who would dismiss because of the choices that she had to make, not knowing that she had her own story of pain and suffering, and that she was called to endure in the way that she knew how. And then it takes me to the story of Esther, who was one of many young immigrants who marched all the way from New York to Washington, D.C. to hear the Supreme Court hearing on her fate in this country. And then I think about a candidate that we all know as Stacey Abrams, who I had the pleasure of filming throughout both of her campaigns, an overqualified woman who endured for so long because she believed that she could be first, because she believed that she could make this place better. And to see somebody who gave it their all and continued to endure and show up in the face of adversity, in the face of racism, it was a beautiful thing, right? And she continues to endure. And then I think about Teresina and Benegito, the Quilombola elders who have had to fight against the systems in Brazil, against the racism, descendants of slaves, who still have to fight for their right to the land that they steward, the waters that they protect, that actually feed millions in Brazil. And then I think about my own father, who came to America 30 years ago, and who had a dream of being the best candy maker. And even through these 30 years, starting his business over and over and over and enduring the treatment as an immigrant in this country, enduring working in the service industry, enduring the failures, enduring the hardships, Today, he is getting ready to move into a kitchen and start to have his candy on shelf soon. And then I think about, all of the different immigrant youth who made it to the steps of the Supreme Court after suing the Trump administration and winning a battle in the Supreme Court and coming out holding hands up in the air. And I think about my friend Joe Ham, who's actually up there filming, who has been enduring because he is an MMA fighter on his journey to being a champ. And I think about the many times that he has had to endure and get in that ring and the hours he puts into working on his skill. And then I think about the urban farmers here in Atlanta who shared their story with us, who shared, how they come from other countries and that they are, growing the land and teaching the next generation how to grow, how to be stewards of the land. And then I think about the people of Sapelo Island, whose island, just like a few hours here from Atlanta, whose island has been taken from them little by little, and how they continue to endure and fight for the right to their land. I have so many stories that I have had the pleasure of, filming and hearing along my journey. But I never like to dismiss myself, right? I know that they preach being humble and all of that, but I put a picture of myself up here. I put a picture of myself up here because I think about the endurance that I had to have when I came to this beautiful state of Georgia 13 years ago as an undocumented mother with a child, with nothing, with no money, but with a dream. Because see, endurance requires faith because you don't know what's on the other side. It is not guaranteed. But when I came here, I had the faith and the courage to endure everything that was gonna come my way because I knew that there was something on the other side. I knew that there was a reward on the other side because I believed and because I dedicated my life to hearing the stories of other people. Now, I want to close out with just like saying, I think again about the word endurance, and I love words and numbers, and when you count endurance, it's a 9-letter word. In numerology, if you believe in that, 9 is the number of completion, completing a cycle. It is not the end of all, but it is the completion of something, which means that you are getting ready just to enter another place, which led me to think deeply and say, if you are willing to endure for whatever you believe in, then there's a reward on the other side. If you complete your process, you will get to that other place. Now I think, what if I had not endured? I would not be able to meet all these people, tell all these stories, and continue enduring on this road of entrepreneurship. So I ask us all today, before I close out, to take a moment, grab your right hand and put it over your heart. You feel that? You feel that beating? Now I ask us all to take a deep breath and to just focus on that beating heart. And give yourself a cup of compassion for all of the things that you have had to endure. Because we all have had to endure at some point or another. We've all had to endure on our journey to greatness, to our dreams. Now take another deep breath and thank yourself. Because you are here, you are present, and if you hear that heart beating, if you feel it beating, that means that you still have a purpose left in this world. So thank you all for being here today, and thank you for taking in my words, and I hope that it inspired you a little bit.
Ooh wee. Not Sam trying to get me in my tear ducts this morning. She's trying to get me right here in this one. Thank you so much, Sam. If you have questions in your heart, please keep them because after we hear from both Sam and Kat, we are going to open the floor if you have questions for them. Now I want to bring up Kat Taylor, who is the founder of Hot Coffee and also of Bankhead Coffee and so many more things. So I want you to give it up for Kat Taylor.
The mic working? Yes, it is. Okay. Well, Sam, thank you. That was beautiful, and I really enjoyed that. I am not a speaker, a public speaker like Sam, so I might sound a little nervous. I might look a little nervous, but I'm going to share a few things with you all today. But before I do that, I wanted to share with you when Amina emailed us and said, hey, we would love for you to be a speaker about endurance. And I thought to myself, well, what have I endured? So before I go into the rest of that story, I need everybody on this side, I just need you to clap. Just clap. Okay, thank you. And everybody in the middle, if you could just stand up for me. And when you stand up, just clap. Thank you. And then you all on this side, just look really serious. Awesome. So I got a standing ovation, I got a clap, and I said something really, really important because they look so serious. So, in the event that I don't do this great, you guys, or that I mess this up, social media will say otherwise. So I want to start with endurance, right? So it is persistence in doing something despite the difficulty or delay in achieving. Could you go to the next slide? And so I wanted to share with you a story about the first time I actually failed at endurance. So I have to give you some context, and I love my dad. He's really important, and he passed away when I was 11. But my dad was born in 1934. My mother was born in 1938. They had kids for 20 years. I am the baby of all those 9 kids. I saw my brother outside playing baseball, and he was playing baseball in the backyard with a lot of kids from the neighborhood, all boys. And so I asked my mother, could I go outside and play baseball with them? And she said, no, you cannot go outside and play baseball with the boys. So I said, okay, I'll ask my dad. And I did. And he said, sure. He heard my mother tell me no. But he said, sure, go outside and play baseball with the boys. Now, it was a hot summer day in Kansas. That's where I'm from. No Dorothy jokes. But it was hot outside, but it had just rained. And so there was a little mud in the backyard. And I had on some cute little pink shorts and some white socks with lace around them. And so I headed out to the backyard, and my dad said, let her get up to bat first. So I got up to bat, I swung, and if you know me, I'm not coordinated, but I hit the ball. And it flew across the yard, and I froze. And my brother said, run, run. So I ran, and then he said, slide. So I slid. I slid into first base, and I made it. I got up, I looked at my little pink shorts. They were full of mud, and I ran in the house and started crying. And my father said, that's why I don't want you playing baseball outside with the boys. That stayed with me for a long time. And it stayed with me, and it put me in a box. Don't play with the boys. Don't play the games that the boys play. Don't play with the boys. Stay in your box. Stay where it's safe. Stay where you won't get muddy. Can you go to the next slide? So my whole life, again, I've just stayed in a box. And it wasn't until I reached my 30s, and I'll go into that story, but I wanted to share with you, whether it was careers or relationships, I put myself in a box to not get muddy. And let's be honest, sometimes when you're enduring things, you're gonna get a little dirty. Would you agree? So I started thinking about who has endured a lot, right? Michael Jordan. And let me tell you all, I switched over to basketball because I'm still traumatized by baseball. But Michael Jordan made over 12,000 shots during his entire NBA career. But he also missed over 9,000, right? So you have to also think that if he hadn't taken those 9,000 shots, would he have actually made over 12,000 shots? Endurance is about the ability to keep going. Could you go to the next slide, please? So, I want to share some things with you. I told you in my 20s, I just put myself in a box. I didn't want to get muddy. In my 30s, I took on a completely new role. When I turned 35, I completely changed careers, getting myself out of my box, getting myself a little bit muddy. At 37, I became the first woman president and chief executive officer of the DeKalb Chamber of Commerce in DeKalb County, our 4th largest county in the state of Georgia. At the time, it was the 3rd largest county in the state of Georgia. I promise my leadership had nothing to do with us losing the population. And then Mayor Bottoms called in 2019. I had never met the mayor prior to, and she asked me to lead the Workforce Development Agency. Many of you may be familiar with Workforce Atlanta. Many of you may only be familiar with the fact that it's been one of the most corrupt agencies in the city for a very long time. Had nothing to do with me either. But I was happy to come and work for the mayor and happy to help try and turn things around. Could you please go to the next slide? So I had to resign from my position at the chamber, and people felt a little way about that, right? Like, you're leaving, you've built this up, and our staff loves you, and the community loves you, and you've done so many things. But the headlines were, I'm leaving a void. It felt very negative, right? But I had to endure the fact that I had to go to the next level. I had to move to the next thing, whatever that next thing was, right? And at the time, it was moving to be on the mayor's cabinet. Next slide, please. So, is anybody here from the AJC? Let me tell you, I feel like the AJC called somebody and said, hey, can you go down to archives and go into ugly files and find the ugliest picture you have of her? So this is what happened about not even a year after I joined the mayor. Atlanta loses $4 million in federal grant funding. But it did not say that when I got to the agency, that $1 million was already on the line to be lost. I had to figure out a way to save it. I had to figure out a way to save several grants. There was a homeless grant that I saved. We were able to spend all that money down. And then during COVID, I was able to be granted $1 million to address the community for COVID funding. But this is what made the headlines. Endurance is also about building relationships, because you never know when you need people. You can't do things alone and by yourself, so you have to build relationships. Next slide, please. If you notice on that last slide, it said August the 24th. It was the Sunday paper. It was the front page. They put that picture, that ugly picture that you just saw on the front page. This is the picture that they posted the next day in the AJC. In a little bitty space with a much better picture. I do appreciate that. But it was something that you have to endure. I was like, okay, I don't know if I can do this. This is hard. I want to help people, but this is difficult. And if they're going to keep putting ugly pictures on the paper, I don't know if I can do this. Next slide, please. So, I started to transition again in careers, and big law came knocking. I don't know if we have any attorneys in the room. I'm not an attorney. But because I had done some DEI work at the chamber and I had done some DEI work with the city, a big law firm called and recruited me. And so I decided to, once I spent down the money for the grant and got all my team straight at WorkSource, I resigned my position as the executive director of WorkSource Development and moved to a big law. And I had not worked in a law firm before, so it's a little different. And if there are any lawyers, I hope not to offend you. But y'all are difficult to work with. I'm like, maybe I should go back to government where they pay low and everything is slow. But it might be better to be with them than y'all. So, big law, I went to lead DEI, the inaugural position. Got a lot of work done in that first year. Got a lot of work done in the second year. The third year, what happened this year in June? Supreme Court decision. Completely turned my world upside down, right? And everybody's doing DEI because now people are scared. They don't want to endure what comes next. And what comes next is we keep doing the things that we need to do to make sure equity and inclusion are still at the table. But they're asking, well, how do we change the terminology around DEI? How do we change the definition? We don't. We have to endure what comes next. So then I decided, well, I'm still at the law firm. I'm still doing it. I still love that job, and we're still doing a lot of work. But goodness, all the stuff I have to endure, I need coffee. I needed lots of coffee. I used to be a tea drinker, but I needed more caffeine. So I started my own coffee company, Hot Coffee. Next slide, please. So when I say you got to build relationships, you got to build relationships. I have had so much support from friends and colleagues and peers that have helped me along the way during my career trajectory. But I came to a Creative Mornings event and provided the coffee at I think the last one at Lips, and WABE was there. So WABE and our local NPR affiliate who is doing the podcast with Creative Mornings. And I said, hey, I know you guys are always going to coffee shops. Why don't you stop by mine? It was one of the greatest turnouts that they had while they were doing the coffee conversations with Rose Scott. Yeah. And so, again, building those relationships, endurance. And so it was amazing. It turned out fantastic. Next slide, please. And then breaking news, right? You've seen I've put all these articles up, all these ugly photos. I started the business in 2020. So when I saw that, despite the 2020 boom, Black-owned businesses are still facing challenges. We are. It is challenging. It's challenging to get funding. It's challenging to help get marketing so people can know where you are, which is why I'm so grateful for Creative Mornings. So I have to face that. I have to endure that. But endurance is about, again, moving forward. So I want to give you a few tips before I close. Tips for endurance. Build great relationships. Be a reliable friend. You can't just build relationships and not be reliable or accountable for people. Always consider what you can do for others, and spell do right. And then bet on yourself. Bet on yourself. And then, of course, drink more coffee. That will be helpful to me. And the very next slide, I appreciate you all enduring all my articles and all the pictures. But as much as I felt like the AJC did me wrong, they didn't do this to me. And I don't want to be this guy. Thank you so much.
Yes, Kat, thank you so much. Sam, if you'll come up here. I would love to get questions for Sam and Kat. Thank you both so much. I mean, these are two entrepreneurs and founders that help Creative Mornings Atlanta run. So we are always excited to partner with them, and it's an honor for us to get to hear even more of your story today. So thank you. Questions for Sam and Kat, and I've got a roving reporter here that can make sure we hear your questions. Questions you have. Yes, I got one over here. I'm giving you a workout today, Maria. Hold right there, because we got to make sure we can hear you on the video too.
I guess, what was one point in your current businesses that you had to endure, like, I guess, a problem that you had to overcome, and you're like, I don't know if I can get through this. This might actually close the doors.
Payroll every other Friday. That is really it.
Ooh, I would say Death Valley. That's what they call, like, when you're getting ready, you've done really good, then you come down and you're like tasked with, like, am I gonna scale? Am I gonna pivot? Am I gonna get back up that hill? Because I'm tired as hell from that last hill. And I actually am honest enough to say that I have been going through that, but now I got a new business strategist, and I'm feeling really good. But there was a moment where I was like, ooh, is this it? Is that all I got? But then, that endurance kicked in, and I was like, I got more in me.
Really great question. Thank you, because I think a lot of people are experiencing that right now. Many of us, especially those of us who are working in industries like yours, we're experiencing that valley place right now. So that's great tips right there. Other questions?
What feeds your endurance? Like, what keeps you going?
So for me, I'm always going to say coffee, y'all. I got to say coffee. But just the story of me getting muddy and then giving up at that very moment, right? I know I'm going to be uncomfortable. So when I start to feel uncomfortable, I'm like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. But I know that on the other side of it, I'm going to be comfortable again. So when I start to have that feeling in my gut, like I'm nervous, I'm anxious, I keep going.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's really staying grounded and connected to my spirit. Like, I really value my spirituality. And I feel like my ancestors have my back all the time. Like, I feel them whispering to me. And I know that I could be on, like, the mystical side of things sometimes, but I believe in it, and it's what keeps me going. I feel like, I hear my ancestors.
Yeah.
I would agree with that, though, too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So no one does anything great alone. And I imagine that as you've gone through the ups and the downs in Death Valley, that you've had people that have been along the journey with you. When that endurance kicks in to keep going, how do you then motivate the people that have been your right hand to keep going with you and not get exhausted by the hills?
I always make sure, like what I put in my notes, what can I do for others, right? Even if I'm going through it, what do the people around me need? You know, they're insulating me. How do I help to insulate them, right? So what do they need? And sometimes they need to talk. They need a platform. They need a place to gather. They need me to help think about their strategy. Whether it's business or career. Sometimes it's like, hey, I'm working on, a capstone project. I'm getting my master's degree. Can you look over these finances for me? Whatever it is at the time that I have the ability to do, I show up for people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think that for me, it's also like making sure that I'm able to feel myself first. I think sometimes we're like so giving when we're leaders, like we're always like pouring out. But I have found that self-preservation is super important. So taking that time to really rejuvenate, refill myself so that my cup can pour over, and then I could be of better benefit to those around me. And I think that even though I talk a lot, I feel like actions speak louder than words, so I try to make sure that my actions are actually louder than my words, and I'm like, all right, I gotta exemplify that I'm still enduring, that I'm able to move forward so that my son or like my team or the people around me could be like, all right, she's not all talk, like she's also like walking that talk.
Yeah, that's great. Other question. I thought I had one on this side. I got one here and then one up there.
Trying to think about how to ask this question. So as Atlanta's demographic, resources, focus shifts and evolves as it is, and places like this come along, and AEI or AIE is doing the work of putting the word out about Atlanta. So the brand of Atlanta is evolving, right? Does that make your work easier? Are there more resources? Is there more receptivity? Is there more quality to the work you're doing? Because there's a buzz and there are maybe more resources focused in certain ways? Does it make it harder because racially, economically, the landscape of Atlanta is shifting and the values of Atlanta are changing as a result?
I really, really love that question. And I'm not sure if I'm going to answer it correctly or cynically. I don't know. So Atlanta is evolving, and the messages and the narratives are also changing, which is great. And there was a time in Atlanta where we did a great job marketing Atlanta, but not necessarily delivering what we were marketing. And so I do think it has been a little bit easier to leverage things like Atlanta Influences Everything and some of the resources. But I would say that we're marketing the resources. We don't always make it easy to have access to the resources. And so I'm having conversations with the Georgia Department of Transportation. They're building and doing some things on Bankhead Highway, which directly impacts my business, right? So how can they help me, right? But if I don't come to them and say, hey, what can you do because you're impacting my customers, then they're not going to come to me, right? So the resources are there, but sometimes they're like right there, but they're just a little bit harder to get access to sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think on my end, working in the film industry, what I have seen is that there's a lot of invitation for big productions. There's a lot of invitation in tax breaks and financial initiatives for the big producers that are coming from LA, that are coming from out of town. I've actually been hired by the big director, right, that comes into town that needs me to shadow him, not necessarily gives me access or have a voice. I'm just like a shadow, right? And so I started to ask the question, like, okay, like you're benefiting all of these people that are outsiders and that are huge, but how are you all like helping the smaller film production companies that have been here, right? The Latino-owned production companies, like we already know that Latinos don't always have a lot of access here in Georgia. And then you put in the immigrant layer, like that's even like a harder layer. So I personally, my business has never gotten like grants, even though I've applied for them. I've never gotten like the access to capital that other people have gotten access to. So a lot of my business has been self-funded and privately funded by like other partners. And so it is a big challenge. It is like a game of endurance if you want to survive here. So when you start to see like all of these different people coming in and getting like, I guess, the fruits of even sometimes the labor that you have put in here, the, you know, the hype that has been built around Atlanta, it's disheartening, but it also makes me like go outside of Atlanta sometimes, which sucks. Go outside of Atlanta and look for resources in other places that are oftentimes more willing to, you know, like provide to founders of color, to people of color. They're not many, but they're out there.
Great question. Last question.
Hello, my name is Sona, founder of the Bubble Bit. I had a question. So, have you always had a team? And if not, what systems have you put in place to help you run your business?
Great question.
Yeah, that's a really great question. And no, I have a business partner, and we started off with one coffee pot and just the two of us, right? So I haven't always had a team, but I've been able to build a team of baristas, and now we have opened our second location. But putting things in place, processes. One, taking time for me. I try not to do anything on Sundays if I can help it, right? But financially, making sure at the end of the month, I'm doing all the financials. It's probably the stuff I hate the most, but it has to be done, right? Leveraging different platforms. You know, you all work with, what's your email? MailChimp.
Oh, MailChimp,
It's, you know, having platforms like that to help you with emails and other, you know, financial platforms or retail and sales and website platforms. Putting those all together. I work with my banker. My banker knows me by name, because if I need some help, I need to be able to call them directly and not just walk into any branch and people not know me or know who my business is. So building those relationships in a very deep way where I have access that maybe some other people don't, because I'm making sure that I'm creating the access for myself. So I haven't always had a big team, and I don't have a big team now, but certainly are using platforms and ChatGPT a lot.
No, I definitely have not always had a team. I started with like an underwater camera filming outside of the water by myself, like just filming people being all up in their face, editing, putting music behind it, giving my first clients, God bless them, like really low quality videos, but I thought they were good at that time and they believed in me. And then after that, we started growing, and I started building a team, and we've gotten up to like having like productions that have up to like 30 people. And it's just like learning like what your needs are. How do I like, and you know, like you have to be willing to like make mistakes. Right. Like you have to be willing to make mistakes. I think sometimes in entrepreneurship, we feel that, you know, other people have all the answers, they're doing it right. Like the reality is that I don't think there's any entrepreneur that has all the answers or that they're doing it to perfection. They may show up looking like it, but really entrepreneurship is willing to suck at something new, not holding yourself back, and like making those mistakes, because when you make those mistakes, you learn and you're able to bring those lessons into your next process. So like right now, I'm in that process of like, okay, like I know that the past 7 years, like I was doing good with this like crazy process that only made sense to my ADHD brain, but it created a lot of like, you know, a lot of like things that were not solid. And now it's like, whoa, now I have the opportunity to build a better process because I was willing to make all those mistakes early on and not wait for the perfect moment to execute. So your process comes from your ability to make mistakes.
Oh man, so great. Y'all give it up for Kat and Sam. Thank y'all so much. Maria will come and get those mics from you. And if y'all didn't get your question answered, Kat and Sam gonna hang out for a few minutes. They can't give y'all like an hour because that's paid time, but like a few minutes probably. I wanna give a couple announcements to y'all and then we're gonna let y'all go. First of all, y'all saw these cards that look like this on the table with those wonderful burritos. You could get free coffee on a Monday at the Daily, okay? So make sure you grab this on your way out. Any food you see on that table, take it to your home, okay? Feed someone. Take those things to your house, okay? We will see you all Thursday, November 30th. Thank y'all so, so much. This was amazing.